How to eat to lose fat. This is part 3 of a series on how to eat to lose fat. If you haven't watched the other episodes, then you can go back in the playlist and you'll find them. I'm going to also link the video here, the first one. But basically this is like small tips and small details that you can implement in your nutrition to make it easier to eat in a fat loss phase. That will lead to an easier journey when it comes to sticking to your calorie deficit. So right now, I'm just finished with my workouts and I am also in a fat loss phase. So this is the kind of things that I, like the small detail that I try to pay attention to. And in the last episode, I talked about the relationship between volume and calories. And the example that I showed you was, having less calories per the same amount of volume. Today I want to show you having more volume for the same amount of calorie, which is almost the same thing, but yesterday it was really like you eat the same quantity of a food and two foods are practically the same, but one gives you more calorie than the other. And in that example, it's like similar foods with very similar amount of calories, but then they give you a different amount of volume. And so we have that here, cereals, and this one gives you 386 calories per 100 gram. Yes, that is correct. And this one gives you 351 calories per 100 gram. So it's slightly different. It's not like the exact same amount of calories, but it's a very similar food. And so already you noticed, like if everything else is equal, then the one on the right that has less calorie might be more beneficial for fat loss because it's going to help you be in a calorie deficit more easily. But then I'm going to show you the difference when it comes to volume. So I'm going to take that and measure 30 grams of that. So this is 32 grams. For the sake of transparency, let me show you. Here, 32 grams, so that's pretty much 1 ounce, just a bit more. I measure everything in grams, it's more accurate. And so for this one, ,32 grams as well. So again, for the sake of transparency, if only I could know how to use that 32 grams. And then you have them side by side, and you can see like this amount and this amount. So it's not a huge difference, right? But it's still going to have an impact on how much of that versus how much of that you can eat for roughly the same calories. In that case, this has more volume, as you can see, but it has even less calories. So it's truly a win-win situation. And if we were to go with some other cereals that have even less volume than the clusters, then it would be even more beneficial. So now again, I want to stress this. It's not to say that calories are bad. It's absolutely not the point here. It's really to say when you're in a fat loss phase, you do want to pay attention to how many calories you are eating, and you also want to pay attention to the volume of food that you're eating, because if the calories are equal but you can eat more volume, you will be less hungry, period. If the video was called like how to eat to build muscle in a building phase, then I would stress the exact opposite. Like you want to be able to eat more food without having GI issues, without feeling overly full and stuffed. And so in that case, it would be better if you eat a smaller volume with more calories. So the other one would be more helpful for this situation. So it's really about just understanding the different foods, their characteristics, and when it's the best time to choose one over the other. And in the case of a fat loss phase, then you want to have more volume for less calories. Now, with that being said, there are still a lot of things that are important if you do want to lose fat. And even when tracking, like tracking is great. We 100% recommend that, but it's also not a silver bullet. There are other stuff that matters. And if you want to have a look at what that is, then check out this video.